The rebirth is intensifying, and it is not going to ease up anytime soon. Before we dive into this week's astrology, I want to do a retrospective of the last week, just so that we can process the roller coaster that has been the last 7 days. So, last week started with that Jupiter retrograde, Mercury retrograde trine, which brought up a reevaluation of security, which very obviously manifested itself as the oil crisis and the overall Middle Eastern crisis going on right now. We saw more elite posturing, more shady maneuvers, more egoic individualism from the Trump administration, as well as the 1% overall this week, with again the oil crisis, the Middle Eastern crisis, AI, the whole Operation Epstein Fury thing, all of it. And we saw the increasing pushback from the people, not just nationally, but also internationally. Overall, we have seen the inward expansion that has been taking place not just over the last couple weeks, but really over the entirety of winter, particularly with Mercury retrograde and Jupiter retrograde, transitioning from inward expansion into outward expansion, with the externalization of all of that growth unfolding with more pressure, more heat, more intensity as the days go by. From Monday to Tuesday, we had a Sagittarius moon, passionately tying up the loose ends of the Virgo eclipse. From Wednesday through Friday, the moon in Capricorn put those Virgo eclipse revelations and realizations to the test, personally. Saturday and Sunday, we had the moon in Aquarius, bringing those personal tests of said revelations and realizations brought to a collective communal scale. Which brings us to Monday. This Monday, the moon moves into Pisces, asking us to reflect on how the connection between the personal and the collective affects our changing visions of our future and life purpose. We are, of course, feeling the huge emotional, creative, intuitive, subconscious reset of Tuesday's new moon, further amplifying this retrospective energy. There's a square between the Sun and Juno also on Monday, so whatever strategic alliances and or partnerships you are being guided to make may begin to show themselves to you today, and in general, they will start showing themselves to you starting today. And you will be continually guided towards those alliances, those partnerships throughout the week. On Tuesday, there's a bunch of conjunctions in Pisces, as well as a trine between the moon in Pisces and Jupiter in Cancer. So you know those strategic alliances and partnerships I just mentioned? Tuesday is a really great day to move towards those. The soft water aspects of Tuesday offer a moment of mutual understanding, creative flow, and subconscious healing, as well as mutual ground amidst all of the chaos. The way this water hits you and flows through you will, of course, vary. Pisces is a mutable water sign. Water in general isn't always gentle. It can be an extremely powerful tsunami. So, Tuesday, the general guidance is surrender, do not resist, and take time to breathe. And now we reach Wednesday, the day of the new moon. This new moon is characterized by a couple aspect patterns. We have a minor triangle between Juno in Capricorn, Uranus in Taurus, and the Sun as well as the Moon in Pisces, which are both the apex since they are conjunct. So we have the innovative, shocking, powerful, strategic alliances of our dreams and or possibly nightmares being birthed out of deep, heartfelt, intuitive, subconscious bonds and or connections. This creative, intuitive, subconscious, expansive flow is further amplified by a grand water trine. This grand water trine is between Pallas in Pisces, Lilith in Scorpio, and Jupiter in Cancer, with Pallas in Pisces having to do with creative problem solving, Lilith in Scorpio having to do with deep, hidden desires and power dynamics, Jupiter now stationing direct and thus bringing outward expansion on the home and security front. We are bound to see hidden, undisclosed power dynamics and tactics be exposed and disclosed this week, as well as overall major release, breakthroughs, revelations, and healing surrounding all of these themes. There is, however, a square between that Jupiter in Cancer and Venus in Aries, and thus the desire for bold, impulsive action comes to bat with long-term security, which we are trying to restabilize right now, personally and collectively. This battle carries us into Aries season. At the end of the day, Wednesday, the moon ingresses into Aries, and the morning of Friday, the sun ingresses into Aries. So this impulsive fire to take action will continually be tested over the month. Not just over the course of this week, over the month. So as that fire is continually tested, remember the mutable water of Pisces and what this Pisces season has taught you. Again, water is able to flow gently and powerfully. Do what you need to do to stay in touch with your waters, your flow, so that you can think before you act and move in the right direction. Well, this brings us to Thursday, where there is a conjunction between the moon, Neptune, and Saturn in Aries, and the moon sextiles Pluto in Aquarius. Big collective energy day. Thursday is all about starting to bring the visions of this new moon to life. Whatever alliances, breakthroughs, revelations, realizations, healing that this new moon has initiated are going to begin to be acted upon with passion, boldness, imagination, and discipline. Some of this work you may be aware of. Some of it may start to reveal itself starting Thursday. Try not to get overwhelmed by the work. Remember to take it a step at a time. Show yourself grace for your mistakes and show yourself gratitude for your energy. On Friday, the battle between bold, impulsive action and long-term security we are trying to stabilize becomes further intensified. Our resolve is tested. Individualistic survival wounds are bound to be triggered on Friday. Passionate disagreements and arguments may arise. Yes, on Friday, Mercury stations direct, but it is still in post-shadow retrograde for 2 weeks. So, over the next 2 weeks, as we experience Mercury post-shadow retrograde, we'll probably experience tying up the loose ends of the lessons that this Mercury retrograde has taught you. This on top of this week's new moon, on top of the sun moving into Aries that day, and all of the other transits on Friday, passionate disagreements and arguments will probably arise. Remember to not lose your fire in the chaos of the fire which is thrown at you. Alchemize those fires into your own fire. Let it fuel your fire. Let it strengthen you and your resolve. Let it provide motivation for moving towards your highest alignment and doing the right thing. While we have a lot of planets moving into Aries this month, on Saturday we have the moon moving out of Aries into Taurus. So we have a moment of stability and comfort offered. This moon in Taurus on Saturday is sextiling both Mercury post-shadow retrograde in Pisces as well as the North Node in Pisces. So on Saturday there's an alignment between emotional and personal security, mental retrospection and communication, as well as our newfound purpose. Change itself, however, is not always comfortable. Also on Saturday, there is a square between the moon in Taurus and Pluto in Aquarius. Thus, there may be some resistance to this shift. Try to remember that being uncomfortable does not equate to being unsafe. And a decolonization note, the equation of being uncomfortable to not being safe is deeply rooted in white supremacy. Just think on that for a minute for me. With everything going on in the world, we are bound to have moments of uncomfortability. That doesn't take away from the changes we need to make. Don't ignore that comfortability. Don't bottle it up. Don't brush it aside. Take a moment to listen to it. Ask it what it's trying to tell you, what it's stressing about, and respond with the actions you are taking to change that uncomfortability and also the things that are outside of your control. Ground yourself in that and do your best to, from that point on, let the uncomfortability fade because you are grounding in what you can and can't change instead of freeze mode. And finally, we reach Sunday. The intentional or unintentional shadow work you've been guided to do over the last few days is put into action. There's a minor triangle today between Jupiter in Cancer, Mars in Pisces, and the moon in Taurus as the apex. Passionate, heart-driven action towards personal and collective security is born of a nurturing, stable somatic ground. The sun's conjunction with Neptune on Sunday further asserts the capability to turn the newfound visions and purpose initiated by this new moon into action, into reality. On a collective note, with all of the strategy, problem-solving alliances and action energy from Juno and Pallas coming together with the innovation and shock and disruption of Uranus, as well as the expansive energy of Jupiter in Cancer, the house of home and security, all being initiated by this new moon in Pisces, while Saturn and Neptune and Venus are conjunct in Aries, while Pluto is in Aquarius. We're bound to see this world war take shape. Last thing I read, Trump spoke to 7 countries requesting alliances in the fight to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. I read that Japan entered the chat, Italy entered the chat. We're bound to see not just follow-ups on that, but more solidifications of the teams this week with this new moon. On Earlier in this video, when I was talking about Monday's energy, I specifically said the alliances of our dreams and nightmares in reference to the fact that Pisces rules the 12th house, which rules not just dreams, but nightmares, right? I don't consider this fear-mongering. This is based in reality. Over the last few weeks, we have seen this war bring in more and more different countries, and we have seen more and more countries uncouple themselves with the US. This week will be no different. And that is, again, very obvious with all of the strategic energy that is being activated with this new moon. You know what I do want to talk about, though? So, this new moon in Pisces is at 28 degrees. I felt called intuitively to look up the last time that we had a new moon in Pisces at 28 degrees. And it was March 19th, 2007, which was right in the middle of the unfolding of the mortgage crisis that was built up from 2000 to 2006, but unfolded in 2007. Starting with that new moon in Pisces, which was actually a partial solar eclipse. Eclipses in particular are typically felt about 2 to 4 weeks before and 2 to 4 weeks after, generally speaking. February 27th, 2007, about 3 weeks before that partial solar eclipse in Pisces, Freddie Mac, the Federal Home Loan Mortgage Corporation, announced it would no longer take risky subprime mortgages, as well as related securities. And on the same day, the Dow Jones dropped 416 points, its largest single-day loss since 9/11. Within the following weeks, over 25 lending firms declared bankruptcy or faced severe financial trouble. On April 2nd, 2007, a couple weeks after that partial solar eclipse, New Century Financial Corporation, one of the largest mortgage lenders, filed for bankruptcy. This was a very clear escalation and when the alarms were seriously starting to be raised. And everything rippled from there. So, in summary, the period of February 27th through April 2nd, 2007, is the start of the unfolding of the 2007 mortgage crisis. During that March 19th, 2007 new moon, there was also a minor triangle, the apex being Mercury at 0 degrees Pisces, Venus at 1 degree Taurus, and Pluto at 98 degrees Sagittarius, first of all. So with all of those degrees, we have major ending and beginnings. So we have Venus at 1 degree in her domicile, bringing themes of comfort, security, sensuality, coming together with Pluto in Sagittarius probing for deep transformative truths. At the apex being Mercury at 0 degrees Pisces. Mercury, the planet of communication, the mind. In Pisces, a sign of dreams, illusions, creativity, intuition. And how did that manifest for the US? The illusory bubble of comfort that we were living in was popped. Keeping that in mind, I think that's going to be a big theme for this new moon collectively. A lot of people have been talking about preparing for economic collapse. Again, I don't think it's fear-mongering to say that that economic collapse is going to happen sooner than we all want it to. Sooner than we all will admit. Highly likely this week. Both sides of this war, as much as they may say negotiations are on each of their terms, right? And of both the US and Israel on one hand and Iran in the other hand, both sides have energies of holy war with this conflict. So they're not going to back down on what they believe are proper reparations for the damage done. And the more this war drags on, the more imminent that economic collapse becomes because of the disruption to energy security that the whole world is facing. In addition, we have new innovative technology, new ways to attack. We have particularly cyber attacks comes to mind. I think here in the US, we're going to see some more cyber attacks. And I think this new moon is with the history of that 2007 partial solar eclipse at the same degree of this new moon. I can't help but feel like the economic bubble is going to pop. It could also be the AI bubble. It could also be both. It could also be the AI bubble and the oil crisis, both popping, both igniting all at once. That's what I think this new moon is going to bring collectively. Go back and listen to the daily breakdowns I did in this video for each day this week and take a look at the house that is homing Pisces in your birth chart. To put a cap on all this, we have the spring equinox occurring on the same day of Aries season starting. This on top of Saturn and Neptune in Aries, and all the planets that are going to be transiting through Aries, including Venus right now, the rebirth of this spring is not coming to play. It's here, it's bold, and it's dragging you into this rebirth whether you're ready or not. So don't resist, just breathe and surrender. Here are my shadow work prompts for the week. Here are my mantras for the week. And here is my somatic practice of the week. Feel free to talk about anything I've mentioned in this video in the comments section down below. I would love to continue this chat with you. Let's help each other stay grounded through all these changes, you know? If you would like to book with me, the Inklay is in the aisle bay. While you are there, please take a look at the action items. We are not free until we are all free. You know this, or else you wouldn't have watched this video. As always, the only way out is through. Sending you so much love.